not live as it's supposed to be, right? Anyways, I don't know what the issue is again, but maybe we'll find out eventually by the time we finish this session. We will find out what the issue is and we will sort it out properly. We will find out and then we will fix it. We will fix it. We will fix it. Okay. How many of us had a very great week like mine? When I mean great week, you understand? How many of us had a very I would have loved to hear how our week was on the chat. It again now I don't know why our chat is disconnected, that we can't be able to hear ourselves or get a feedback from you. All right. But by any means that you can be able to let me know how your week was, I would be very glad to know. How was your week? Mine has been fantastic. And there are a lot of context under fantastic. A lot of context under fantastic. So, all right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, so if you can hear me, can you please just make a comment on the chat, okay? Just make a comment on the chat. Just make a comment on the chat, all right? So that I'm able to know that I am audible. Just do something on the chat, just raise something. I can't see anything from here, but just do something, all right? So that I know that yes, we are in together on this. All right. And if you are also able to, I would also like to know how our week was. Like I said, mine was fantastic and still fantastic. I it's just been a lot of activities from here to there and all. And sometimes when you hit the bed like this, it feels like, oh my God, I just want to stay here for some time. But when you before you realize it's morning and you have to get up, you know, yeah, that's the best disclosure. That's the best way I can describe mine. So, but I'd like to hear yours, okay? I'd like to hear yours. All right, all right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can see the chat all coming in. Okay, so how was our week in general, everyone? How was our week? Just I want to hear you on the chat or see you on the chat. Just hear you basically. Just tell me, just tell me, just tell me before we quickly move on. All right. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So today's I welcome all of us once again to Business Friday. It's been a very great and fantastic session from the inception. We started Business Friday a whole lot before, way before now, where we were hosting entrepreneurs like your very self every week. We try to have engagement, try to share insight and maybe foresight at some point based on one or two feedbacks we've received. Just basically opening ourselves to share our experiences so far as we proceed, because we found out that again the difference between Africa today and the rest of the world is knowledge. Yeah, we know that in Africa and some part of developing economies, we are all called the third world countries. Have you tried to understand why we are called the third world countries? We'll discuss that in some other conversation. But the difference between the first world country and the third world country is knowledge. So the first world countries are first world for a lot of reasons. They've been able to understand the earth, the way the earth works, and understand how to master it. And so they by because they were mentally exposed a little bit earlier, they had to find a way to because the way the system of the world works is survival of the fittest. It is the fittest that survives the most. It is the fittest that will stay on top. If you ain't fit, I'm sorry, you would. That's why at some point in history, and it's still happening now, our fellow human being like you and I, you can go to market and buy your fellow human being. Yes, the way you can go to market right now and buy chicken, buy goat, buy whatever animal you desire to have, you can actually go to market and pay for your fellow human being. Yes, yes, we had such moments like that in this world. How was that possible? How is it possible that people can buy their fellow human being? Right? It is because some people mastered the art of rulership. They mastered the art of being on top, while the others did not. And because it's either you are in this world, it's either you are eating or you are being eaten. You can't be in the middle. It's either you are the one that is eating or you are the one that is being eaten up. There must be a eating somewhere. So the first world countries have been eating the third world countries a lot. Um, a lot of times, I mean, about 100 years ago, right, a century ago, most African countries were under the colonization of the European countries, like the British, the Germans, the Portuguese. Most European countries actually colonized a lot of many parts of Africa. That's why most of our lingua franca is based on our colonial masters. Yes, here in Nigeria, the Brits colonized us, so our lingua franca, they introduced their language to us. They told us, by now, this English I'm speaking now, I'm not supposed to speak in English. You're supposed to have had a central Nigerian language, that I should be communicating with, that makes it easy for anybody within Nigeria to understand me. That's why I think at some point people wanted to do, oh, let's do Niger, which is broken English. It's still an English, but an English that you broke, pidgin English, but still English anyways. But my point being that the person that colonized you, part of colonization means I want to take over your territory and I'm bringing my kingdom to your kingdom. And the number one thing your colonial master wants this to you is to take away your heritage, your culture, everything about you, and give you there so that it's easy for them to take over you, manipulate you, and all of that. Yeah, so they can't take away our resources if they don't know, if they don't make you forget your language and begin to speak theirs. And that's how introducing English came on board and a lot of things in between. I don't want to go into all of that, but my point is that we've been in that contest, we've been in that space for the best of time, and that's where we are currently. All of that. So, um, in our world today, like I said, you have the first world country trying to eat up the third world country, and all of that. So, it goes all the way down, trickle all the way down. Although today the people have been find a way to bring in different names, but we are still in the same place where we are today. So, well, today we're not talking about countries, we're not talking about economies, we're talking about businesses. So, what is Business Friday all about? Now, the point I was making before I digressed a little bit is that the reason why there is this dichotomy or there is this massive difference between countries being able to, do that and all that. The reason why there is this gap is because of knowledge. Knowledge is the center, is the foundation of the differences. So if you know this above the other person, you take that knowledge as an edge to um, become where you need to be. There is a saying today that before the Russian power was there, I think the Brits too. The British Kingdom was quite a very strong kingdom back in terms of military strength. But there's a saying that America today that we know as the one of the highest, the world power today, took over that positioning when they were able to come up with the aeroplane technology. The Wright brothers, right? They are Americans, and when they designed I think the first order they had was from American government. The festival came over and gave them the first order, and they started building from there. They moved that technology from individuals, put it in the hands of government. From there, they started developing aircraft. From aircraft, they started developing spaceships, or not spaceship rather, developing military aircraft and all of that. So you can now move up. So while somebody else is trying to fight you on land, you are using air and to do a lot of damage. So they started gaining military dominance when they were able to come up with such technology. So the rest of the world didn't know how to do that. The Americans did, and they took over dominance and a lot of other things. So the baseline here is that knowledge is what separates the lions and the other people. All right. So Today, we have a very, very fantastic conversation that we need to have. Last week, we were having a deep discussion, and discussion that we had last week was about how to be a winning business. How many of us can still remember how we should stay a winning business? As at last week, that was where what we discussed, and we talked about certain points that should make one to be a winning business. Part of it being intelligence, market intelligence, grit, having your market grit, to be able to be have a strong foothold in the market, and we looked at factors like what do you call it, building a system, and all of that. So just we looked at some factors that one we need to leverage. First of all was you need to really have intelligence in the market, then you have to have your grid, build your system, all of that. So we talked about all of that as at last week as part of the factors that you need to strongly build on or structure on so that you can be able to win in your market. So today we're having a very different conversation. Today will be about how to conquer your market. How to what? How to conquer your market. I just said how to what? How you do the nursery rhyme and primary school rhyme. You call, you respond. I just got a bit lost in the process. But yes, how to conquer your market, right? So learning the secret weapon for mastering for the secret weapon for dominating your business. Yes, yes. Very importantly, most people that come into business do not have the mind of dominating. I started building the context of this conversation by what I said earlier about where the third world country, I mean the first world country is putting the third world country in the box, and they're able to do this because of the availability of knowledge, the edge, the knowledge, the knowledge, the knowing the edge. That knowledge there, what you know is the edge. Yeah, because of the edge they have over the knowledge they have. That's why they're able to put the rest of us where we are today, right? So the same thing that is applicable in the older context is also applicable to our context today when it comes to the market space. There is in every market space there are people who are ruling the market, who are in charge, while the rest are taking the crumbs. All of that is there. But the interesting thing is that most people come into business without the mindset of domineering the business, or dominating the business rather. Sorry. You just want to just solve quick problems, get quick money, and just keep moving. But there is no tactical plan towards dominating the business, towards conquering the market, towards being in charge of the market. And that's again the key difference between the big players in the industry and you in your industry. So tonight, I hope in a few minutes we're going to spend there that we can be able to dig out one or two points that can really be able to help you to build a very strong and viable market dominance so that you will be the boss in your market space. Hey, so get your biro, get your jotter. Let's begin to dig in very quickly. All right, so there are actually a lot of factors that leads to market dominance or dominating market, and I'm going to be sharing very quickly from experiences because I remember just very not very long ago, somebody I was having a conversation with one of the people, people I respect. I mean, one of the elders, the fathers in the industry we operate in, right? We were just having a conversation with him, and there was a question he asked me, and I answered. But again, I'm not sure whether he even took note of what I answered because the answer came in very fast, and when I finished answering, he's really like, keep quiet. Too. So I didn't even want to buttress on it much. I just had to I didn't even go back to it anymore, right? So he was asking me a question that has to do with my approach to how we do things. So the answer I gave was that, You people are the consultants, and then me, I'm the businessman among the consultants. So I just said that, made that comment. I just said it in passing and just moved. I didn't stay on it because if I stayed on it, he would be able to like, what exactly are you saying and all of that. But I didn't want to, again, the context of the discussion, I didn't, it wasn't something I should have said very strongly so that I'm not misunderstood, and all of that. So, but the point I was trying to make there is that I clearly understand the path where we want to take. So we are not here to begin to drag legs with everybody. Hey, I'm the best consultant here. Who does this? I'm the best. No, no. We are more like, who are the best? Where are they? Okay, fine. How can we work with you? So that we can be able to achieve the corporate goal the market wants. So we understand what the market wants. We understand the resources that are available to meet what the market wants. We want to have a conversation with you so that we can be able to give the market what the market wants and all of that. So that's the part we are playing and all of that. I think I had similar conversation too with a very top manager, with one of our other partner, one of our partners, when I had a conversation again, because they were looking at bringing me on board for something. I say, yeah, I think you are talking to the wrong person here, because I'm not really here. If you are looking for this person, that's not me. This is where I am. I'm in the middle of, playing the cards here and there to make sure everybody's where we need to be and all that. So, and anyway, so the point I'm just trying to make here is market understanding. Yes. And that's the first thing that you need to do when you want to dominate your market. You need to really, really understand your market. You need to understand the way the market is. As in, when I say market, as in, you need to know the market. I was listening to the CEO of PepsiCo. I'm not sure if she's still the CEO now, but she, at least at some point in history, served as a CEO. Now, one of the things that she said that she did as a CEO is that she knew when to climb down from our horse, from our high horse of the CEO of PepsiCo. You know, PepsiCo now is one of the big competitor of Coca-Cola, right, within the global market today. So she knew when to climb down from our place and go over to the grassroots, to those at the shop floor at the factory, and actually have a conversation with them. When the CEO comes down, goes to the lab, to have a conversation with the R&D department to know how are they making their checks, how are they, what do you call it? How are they making their checks? How are they able to do the researches they are doing, right? The specifications they are working on. How are they able to come up with it that this is the best product we should go on? Just asking some very key questions among themselves. She's also able to go to the factory, have conversation with the factory managers, the those who are running the machine, those who are within the machine development. How are you able to she's able to move across board to make sure that she talks to everybody and all of that, move down to every basic area she understands. The reason she's doing that was that she wanted not to be at the position whereby she will make decision as the chief executive without having a grassroots knowledge as to how that strategy will be applied. Because there's always this dichotomy between where a decision maker who doesn't have understanding about the implementation is making decisions. You are deciding from the top, but you don't actually know how things work on the grass level, on the floor level, and all of that. So there's a discontinuity between both what you are doing and what do you call it, what is actually really required to be achieved, and all of that. So your policies are not really the right policies. Your strategies are not really the right strategies, and all of that. So that was the case of her. So she wanted to be sure of everything, so that when somebody who understands the pain points of everybody is deciding, you can't be wrong. And that's exactly what I mean by knowing your market. The number one thing that you need to know is have a critical understanding about your market. What is your market pain point? I've seen people spend a lot of money designing product that is not fit to the market. In fact, I was just talking to one person, just having a conversation yesterday in my mind, because about somebody's product that I know. I know somebody who's designing a product right now, and in my heart, I'm like, and did you really do your R&D properly? Did you really do your checks well? Because if you did, the approach you're taking on this product is you are going to you're going to languish money. And by the time you're done, you realize that I didn't really realize anything. Or when you're finally out with your product, you realize that you have stock of competitors who are everywhere and you're nowhere. Are you really doing a very good competitive studies, and which is another point we're going to talk about? But that's so a lot of things. So you need to understand your market. That market you want to play in. How well do you know that market? How well do you understand the pain point of that market? See, when you want to conquer something, you need to first of all have a thorough knowledge about how that thing works. Yes, back in those days when war used to happen between a country to country, and like real war happen, and sort of not real war. What I mean by that is, when they carry those. Have you watched Troy before? Those movies, all those big movies. I'm a fan of it a lot. They lift up, they come to a particular place, they kill everybody, they conquer them, and make them their slaves. All of that. When those war was happening, before that war happens, they will send a lot of spies that will go in to actually thoroughly give the people at the other places a thorough intelligence. If I let me break something for you, the current war that just happened between Iran and Israel, there was a case of this. Have you heard of the Israeli Mossad? I don't know if I'm sure you must have heard of them. They are one of the highest top level military intelligence you can have in the world. It's an Israeli secret intelligence team, right? They moved in before that war happened. They were already inside Iran. That's one of the things. Yeah, there were a lot of letter blows from Iran to Israel. I won't lie, but Israel really did a lot of colossal damages in Iran because they were doing more of targeted bombing than what Iran was basically doing. So they were really targeting core places, killing people like core scientists. Their focus was to neutralize Iran's nuclear power or nuclear program. So they were focusing first of all on the scientists who are designing the program. So the intelligence people were already on ground, giving insight about whereabouts. So they get the missile, on is down. That's how it was just working, and all of that. So and then plus other information they get. That's why as I'm talking to you right now, there's a serious crackdown that Iran is doing now, trying to catch a lot of people because they are like having this fear that's not like a fear. There's a lot of purging and crackdown Iran is doing right now to see if they can catch those Mossad. Like who did they infiltrate, all the areas they must infiltrated, so that who really infiltrated is now an enemy giving insight to Israel and all that. There's a seriously going on right now at Iran now, all of that. So because that was the best way. So they needed to understand the territory. You have to. You have to understand the territory. If not, you can't win. So your number one strategy for dominating the market is a thorough understanding of your market. You must know this market from in to out. So if you are selling shoes, no. If you are selling hair or whatever product you are selling, how well do you understand the hair market in Nigeria? How well do you know the pain points of those who are going to buy your product? How well do you understand the preferences of your intended customers? How well do you have all the key knowledge and insight about how your market works? You really need to understand these things before you are able to actually start strategizing your plan. This is at least you are at the base level. It's at the base level. So this is exactly what it will be first to be able to, make your first move into your market dominance. All right. So I hope you took note of that. Market what? Understanding. I'm always in the teacher student thing. But I try to call and then you respond. Anyways, I hope it gets away out of me. But I spent a lot of time doing a lot of teaching, especially doing physical live classes, having, not live classes, in person program where I get to meet our maybe customers, or we get to meet a class, and I'm there physically speaking with them. So when you are doing that, it's usually you can easily call and respond, and you call and then they respond to you immediately and all that. So it's sort of become a part of me. So pardon me as we proceed. Okay. So that's the number one, the first thing that you must look at. So now that you have now understood, or after you have understood your market, and you've had a clear understanding about your market, the entire structure of the market, the market pain points, the market preferences, just the market volume, your TAM, right? Your total addressable market, right? And your serviceable addressable market. That is TAM and your SAM, total addressable market, serviceable addressable market. Have all of those information about your market. You know all of these things very well. Then the next thing to do would be to now craft. Take your time with the data you have acquired about your customers' pain point, preferences, all of that. Design what is called a unique value proposition. Unique value proposition. UVP. Yes, sir. Please take note of that. First, market understanding. Second, unique value proposition. So, what does that mean? It is, in a very, very simple and basic term, is what you are offering differently, what you are bringing differently to the market, right? Sometimes market can be created from the existence of another market. So for a first time, for example, so let's say, let's use an example now. A shoe manufacturer for the first time let's say it is in a world where we are today now, we've not advanced to or developing things. So somebody now manufactured shoe, and you don't want to go into shoe manufacturing, so you want to enter into the shoe space. But you've seen that somebody is already doing shoe manufacturing, and I've taken my time to study this market. If you have a shoe, you need to have a need. You also have a need for cleaning and polishing the shoe. Most likely, the person that is designing shoe, you'll be so overwhelmed to design polish, you will not even think about it. You'll be more focused on, let me bring that shoe design, So somebody say, I get it. Yeah, I've understood. Anybody that has shoe, their pain point will now be, okay, now that I bought this my very nice shoe now, how can I best clean it so that it doesn't so that it can continue to shine for me? Because the overall essence of buying the shoe is that this shoe, whenever I wear it and come out, somebody will come and say, hey, this shoe fine. No, these days we don't actually wear shoe to cover our protect our legs anymore. No, that's not why you wear shoe these days. Tell me the truth. You don't wear shoe to cover which leg cover. You do that. You wear shoe these days to really show that, yeah, I did that. I mean, life is we'll do good. Because if you separate your leg, I mean, come on, that amount you're spending to buy a shoe, are you spending that whole amount for just shoe? No, you would have spent less than that and still cover your leg. Anyways, so there's a need to have a beautiful shoe, right? Somebody has solved that problem, but there's another problem. This shoe can get dirty. It can get dusty. How can I clean it? How can I make it neat all the time? So you have seen that now that you've understood the shoe market, the way it works, you've seen a pinpoint shoe cleaning, then you now enter the market with shoe polish service, shoe polish as a service, and then shoe polish as a product. And maybe you can even branch a little bit shoe repair. The basic maintenances of shoe, all the shoe maintenances. Once you have a shoe, there's a need for you to polish your shoe, to clean your shoe, and to fix your shoe when there's an issue. So I'm going to be in the maintenance space. That's a unique value proposition. That's a unique corner. That's what we mean by that. And that can only happen when you have thoroughly studied the market and you've seen the market preferences, the market pain points, and the market expectations. Then you now say, let me carve out something new and different that will serve this market a little bit differently, better, and more. So that's the point I'm trying to make here. So it is very important that you look at what is going to really help your business to stand out, right? After you, because again, you are trying to what you're trying to dominate, you're trying to overcome. He. How many of us can remember Genesis chapter 1, verse 26? Let us therefore make man in an own image and likeness, so that he will rule over the birds in the air, the fishes in the sea, the I think the animals on the ground, let him rule over the entire birds of air, fish in the sea, all of that. Basically giving man a charge of dominance. Prior to man creation for the book of Genesis, other things were created. After the elements of earth was put together, then let there be vegetation came on board. Then there were animals, land animals, there were sea animals, there were birds flying, all of that. Before man now came, and he said, let man now rule over these things. And then let man also be taking the animals and the tree bearing fruits, what do you call it, as food, all of that. We know, I'm sure we know, for some of us that are privy to the Bible, it's the context. What I'm bringing out from there is domineering, dominance. We are trying to dominate the market. So you can't dominate the market without knowing what the market really wants. And once you know what the market really wants, then you must go back and design your product. And your product must be unique to the need of the market. It must be unique. If not, you'll be playing double side. So imagine you've studied the market very well and then you now start to come into shoe making again, which is good though. But even if you're going to shoe making, you will still come with a unique structure, unique approach. Are you bringing in shoe? What's the style of a shoe? Like you study the market now, the people no longer want the normal shoe. People now want to have kicks, want to have Skechers, want to have what is some of the sports shoes, just easy to wear shoes. That's a different market. You get, so you can actually delve into it. So, but you need to study. And once you study, you need to design a product which is going to be your unique value proposition, and then you bring it into the market, all of that. So that's like the next thing that you need to really do, right? And all that, designing that. So the data you've acquired from your knowledge of the market then helps to begin to design a new product that can actually help you to, stay afloat in the market. Now, after you have done that, remember we are still talking about dominating the market. You must not launch out. Hear me. Please put your hand on your ear. You must not what? You must not launch out unless until you have done what? You have understood your competition. Remember last week, yeah, I was talking about business is like a chess. I think it's a chess game. You play it's a chess game. So you need to know your opponent. Yeah, your opponent. Opponent is the person that is selling what you're selling. Yes, is the opponent. Is the opponent, and you need to know who the opponent is. What do they want? How are they playing their cards, and how can you be in charge? How can you rule? So you need to really have that understanding. You have to have that knowledge of knowing your opponent, which is that's so here is this part now is where what do you call it? You master your competition. So this third part is mastering your competition. Or yeah, master. That is the word mastering your competition. That's because you need to the game is to master them. Get me? You're talking about dominating. Oh. So when you know your competition, it's not you don't just know them, you know them so that you can master them. You can dust their approaches and all. That's why business is not a job for the if you are not cut out for stress, because it will stress you, and you're not cut out for due diligence. That is going down to the narrowest point. Don't do business. I tell you, don't be at the helm of the affair of your organization. Just leave that place for somebody else. Stay where you are. Maybe as a freelancer, right? Just do what you want to do. That's life is easier that way. I was sharing with somebody. in a family, beautiful family, was telling me about just about. She said, "Do you know that? Do you know how much I desire to be in a place whereby at the end of the month, somebody's giving me salary as I want, the way I want it, the way it's giving me, life is sweeter. I don't have to sit back and be thinking of the next food that is going to come, how to make sure the company is meeting their target, how to make sure we win. It is a lot of stress here. I feel like if so for people that have seen me physically, some of my boards here and there and their white hairs is because of the thing. Hey, Jesus, it's still the thinking is too much. You see, all of us just listed now. You need to know your market very well. It's not practicalizing it. It's not beans. It's not beans. Some of you that said, if back in those days in school days, I pass exam, make a hear say I read signboard. Not even I won't even agree to read signboard at all. I know anything I call reading, I don't even mind it. I've thrown all books away. Have you seen how you are not joking? Oh my God. You're going to read reports. You're going to first of all find the best persons to help you enter the market, do a market study. And when the firms they finish, they'll big pack report and give you. You must sit down and analyze the report thoroughly. Uh-huh. That chart is not working fine. That thing is not, that's not the way it's supposed to be. And you also need to be very smart, to be able to know when. So it's a lot, I tell you. I'm not saying this to discourage you, but I'm telling you that because I'm telling you this so that you can be able to find your place. There's a lot of motivational speaker. Do enter do business so I can have more extra this is that. Except you want to do this, I call it bachaku business. Just want to do things by the side. That's fine. I mean, this conversation is not for you. But if you want to build a business that is lasting, that's an organization that will last time test of time, become one of those known names. This what I'm saying are the way you must do it. There's no other way. Yes, you must sit down thoroughly. Even if you are doing the Bachako kind of business, as I still said to somebody, if you are any business that you call a side business will forever remain a side business until the day you move it from side to main business. Yeah, hear me very well. Any business that you still consider a side business will forever remain a side business until the day you move it from side to main business. That's when it will make a different change. You can be working, be doing your 9 to 5, and then be building some by the side. You see, it gets some point time where you go reach, you have to leave that 9 to 5 and actually enter here. And I know why you were saying that because you want to play very safe. You need to make sure that your family has enough money to eat. That is very apt. But I'm saying there's a point in the growing of that business that you get to. You can't do it other. You must leave that other part and enter here and pay the sacrifice of hunger at some point. Yes. So if you know that you have a family and you must feed this family and okay, yeah, and you must feed this, yeah, okay. And you must feed this family, and this family must be well fed. Then it will push you to move faster and find a way to get results so that your family can feed. That's how I pull it. That's how I look at it. That's my motivation. My family cannot go hungry. This is no matter how I want to, my family can't go hungry. So when everybody's sleeping and taking ice cream, they're not because there's nothing to take ice cream for. You have to get up and take action. Are we together? So my point exactly is that all of this point I'm making at the point that you need to really follow if you want to win in your business. So number one, study the market, know your market. Number two, design your UVP. Number three, master your competition. Not just know them, master them. Be on charge of them. You must be on top of your competition. So being on top of them means you have to sit back and study them thoroughly from end to end, know everything about them, their approaches to market, and see how your product and your approach to market will floor all they are doing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it, and all that. So competition is something you must study, and then you have here like that's why some cognitions have a department that is focused on competition alone, just studying the market as you move this, take this move, that man is taking this move. You calculate the move 5 times. Pam, pam, pam. This is where this is likely going to go, and you make your own step. Ping, pam, pam. So that by the time he gets there, you're already there. I told you it's a chess. All right, so it goes that way, really, and then. The last point here, but not the least. In fact, this conversation will not just end today. We will actually move it to next week. So by next week, we'll continue from here. There are a lot of other points I want to talk about when it comes to building a winning business, right? But the next point I will talk before we finalize for today would be on building a brand. Brand simply means how you be perceived, perception, how your market is going to see you or know you or think about you. Our company today is Astute, and I keep each time I keep checking. When somebody says Astute Business Consult, what naturally hits them? Who do they think we are? How do they rate us? Yeah, these are some questions I asked very thoroughly. And when I get feedback, sometimes it's painful, but I say it's good. They will not begin to work. This thing must change from this way to that way, and all of that. So know your market or study your market. What do you call it? Design your UVP, conquer your competition, and build your brand. These are the four things that you need to really bend on to be able to win your market, dominate your market and stay at the top. Remember, the game is the word stay at the top. All right. So today there's a lot on our plate, so we will not be able to stretch beyond this point. In fact, there's an urgency for me to for us to move to the next thing that we need to do after now, right? So I don't know if we have some questions. Like I said, we're not ending this topic today. We're still moving on till next week, Friday, right? So commence talk about other points on winning, having a winning business, and also, sorry, a dominating business or a business that dominates the market, dominating your market rather, not winning. We've done winning this business was last week. Now it's now dominating your market and all of that. So I'd like to see any question you have, please put on the chat. Let's quickly take it. And where there are none, we can actually quickly call it to a close today and until we meet next week. All right, so I'm just going to give another 30 seconds to see if I can get any question. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. The next 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. We should be in 10 seconds now. We should be in our 10-second now. 10 seconds, 10 seconds. All right. All right. All right. All right.